I want to share today about how gratitude is a gateway emotion, kind of like a gateway drug to feeling the most amazing things in life and experiencing the most elating feelings we can as individuals, peace and joy and excitement. Just like a gateway drug, it's a natural gateway drug to feeling the amazing benefits of serotonin and dopamine rushes. But before I jump into that, I just want to welcome you. My name is Andrea Brown. This is Thrival Now, a new YouTube channel and podcast where I am committed to helping you go from survival to thrival in your finances and other areas of your life, but specifically your finances, so that you can be more, do more, and give more. So to jump in, I just want to share a little bit about this idea. I heard it years ago, and honestly, I can't even remember where I heard the concept that gratitude or Thanksgiving is like a gateway drug. And I actually looked it up today because I was trying to figure out where I might have heard it or if this was actually a concept that is out there. And sure enough, I found a number of articles, including one by, I think it's Psychology Today. And that's exactly what they said, that gratitude is a gateway drug. Gateway emotion, I mean. And there was a lot of reasons that gratitude has been recognized and how powerful it is. And I want to share a few of those here in a minute. But I want to just back up for a minute and explain why and how I started experiencing the power of gratitude in my life and how I've practiced it for 20 plus years. And I kind of stumbled into it, I'll be honest. I wasn't going looking for it. But you know, let me say this. I have a good inheritance when it comes to learning how to be thankful. My grandma was one of the most thankful individuals I knew. She was one of the most positive women ever, and just what an inspiration and what an incredible impact she had on my life. My grandma, could hardly catch her saying anything negative. She just wanted to be positive so that people would want to be around her, and she modeled that in a beautiful way. My mom also really lives this out. Even to this day, she is one of the most positive people and one of the most grateful and thankful people I know. She's written more thank you cards and my grandma too, of almost anyone I know other than her sisters. So I've seen it modeled out in that way. But interestingly enough, my sister years ago gave me a journal, a gratitude journal. And this is how I stumbled into the power of gratitude, intentional gratitude. So my sweet sister, she even inscribed this book years ago as such. Sisters are forever, love it. But she gave this to me as soon as I'd graduated high school. I was kind of in a season of transition. I had finished like a 3-month mountaineering course in the Canadian Rockies. I think that was for my 20th birthday to myself. And I was kind of in transition. I'd worked as a medic on some oil rigs in northern Canada and had kind of a turn at that, and was trying to figure out the next steps. And it turned out that she gave this to me at Christmas, and I started using this, but the power of this came. I barely had started into using this for a few weeks when I ended up getting an opportunity to go work as a caretaker on a ranch really remote from my town in northern British Columbia. I grew up in a town called Fort St. John, BC. And there was a ranch way up in a place called Pink Mountain, about 3 hours north of that town. At the end of the road, an incredible multi-million-dollar property that was in transition and being sold. And I was asked to be a caretaker. And so I was paid a small amount of money, but I needed a place to live, and it was enough to kind of carry me over. It was one of those decisions you make that you would never have made the decision if you knew what you were getting into, but often you end up climbing mountains not knowing what it is you're doing. And so in my case, I went out thinking it was going to be for a week or 2 weeks, and I was considering it kind of like a mini vacation. And then a number of things snowballed. I got snowed in on the property. There was no vehicle at the time that I could go and come with, and I didn't own one at the time, or at least one that could go that distance. And And so it snowballed into me staying for a month, and then there was a problem with the people trying to buy the property. And anyway, without going into details, I ended up staying at this property for just over 3 months. And it was through some of the hardest winter months, darkest winter months in northern Canada, February, March, and April through the breakup. And to be crazy, to tell a little bit about the story, I mean, there was wild buffalo herds that moved around up in this valley, one of the only wild buffalo herds in Canada, to my knowledge. And my nearest neighbors were trappers that lived 10 miles up the valley, away from the end of the road, past this ranch property. And so I would see them about once every week when they would come down. They were checking their trap line. They were the last people that I knew of to live full-time on a trap line and make their living on a trap line in Canada, in Western Canada, or BC for sure. And so I would see them once a week. They would come down and kind of check, say hi and stop for coffee. And I would see them maybe once a week. I would take a snow machine up to see them. And otherwise, it was a season of isolation like you couldn't imagine. And I almost didn't see a soul other than these people twice a week for coffee. I mean, it was unbearably lonely and a season of training and challenge in my life, and something that I've drawn on for years since. And I would never wish to do anything like that on my worst. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And I walked out of that experience going, like, having something. They talk about fortitude's an incredible word, and the concept of fortitude. And all I know is I came through this experience knowing that I could survive a concentration camp in solitary confinement for 3 months. Like, that was the level of what the weight of that experience. Again, nothing I would wish on my worst enemies. But one of the ways I survived that season, and I share this because the whole concept of this channel is how to go from survival to thrival. And it's not, I started this with the idea of doing that in your health, wealth, and your relationships. And some of these concepts all mingle, but I've really started to narrow this down and wanting to help you prosper and see you go to the next level in your finances. And one of the ways to do that is to begin to see how the power of gratitude. And so for me, I ended up practicing this in this circumstances, and what felt like, as I got into it, almost like a prison sentence. And I embraced it in the moment. It's a longer story, and I don't even need to really kind of describe or go into all of that now. But suffice it to say, I made choices to stay in that place and endure in that season week by week. And in the end, it was basically a 3-month period that I was in the mountains and isolated. But I was practicing gratitude. And it was very simple. The idea was to just fill out 4 or 5, 4 or 5 lines each day, 4 or 5 things each day. I guess there's 5 lines. And to look for 5 things every day that I could be thankful for. And many days it's very basic. It was that the sun was shining and that I could get out on the road and walk and exercise, that there maybe was a movie to watch. Of course, I say I was lonely because, just to give it credit, I mean, this is how many 20-something years ago. There was no internet, and their only phone system was a satellite phone where it was like $1 a minute to call out. So this was in a time where even human connection, even in any other way, was really limited. So just a little context for you. But I practiced for that full 3 months this incredible discipline of gratitude. And after that season, I never did it on that level anymore, never so specifically. I continued to journal in my life, and as part of my journaling kind of custom and the ritual of journaling in my life involved a lot of gratitude. But what's amazing is when I look at the research, and I really dig into this idea of if gratitude is a gateway emotion, what is it a gateway emotion to? Well, it's those higher level emotions of like joy and peace and excitement. And those are the ones where you really get the dopamine and serotonin hits. I mean, the natural highs that come from living, which are actually more powerful than many synthetic substances and alternative substances, to be honest. But gratitude gives us an incredible capacity to deal with stress. it has a way of decreasing the stress in our life and putting it in context and giving kind of a perspective to what we're dealing with. It also, stress minimizes the negative thinking. It helps us to put kind of railroad tracks or like a boundary on how far we're gonna deal with negativity, and to stay on a road and to stay focused and not get into these ruts, or at least it's helped me learn to do that and to continue to move forward, even though I could totally get derailed and in the heat of the moments and the negativity and be overwhelmed in my circumstances. One of the things I loved as I was doing the research for this video, I found two things I'd never really thought of. Though these other things I was aware of, the decreasing the stress, limiting the negative thinking. I knew kind of this concept of boosting the serotonin and dopamine levels in your brain, but I never had really thought about how gratitude and joy feed off of each other, and it's cyclical. And just like people can spiral downward in depression and negative thinking, gratitude is really the step. It's the way to step up to the next level and spiral around with joy and excitement and being grateful more. It's the way that you can step up and grab that positive power to cycle up, to not go into negative thinking, but to move into positive thinking and pull yourself out of a situation. Gratitude is powerful that way. And the other one I loved, and I can totally attest to, but I'd never thought of these words, but I saw in doing the research that gratitude helps you savor the good things longer. By writing it down, by bookmarking these moments, even to say it out loud that you're grateful to someone or for something, and to really contextualize what it is that you're thankful for, it helps you to savor and experience good things in your life longer and not to lose them in a fleeting moment. And so today I just, I want to see you go from survival to thrival. A made-up word. Yes, it's silly, but to me it embodies what thriving is. And I've been in survival mode in so many ways in my life in the past. And as I've moved into thriving and found this thrival mode, I just want to help you do that. And so I encourage you, find a way to use gratitude in your life to go to the next level. Find a way to harness the power of gratitude, and you're going to see it shift in every area of your life, shift the situation, whatever you're in survival mode, and help you to break out of that and start thriving. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for joining me today.